From the land of lakes, this is 10,000 Takes, brought to you by Minnesota Score Radio. Wally and Eric back for yet another week as we slice and dice the always busy, always topical, super saturated Minnesota sports scene. And yes, there is a lot going on,
yes,
but it really all boils down to the Pastronaut. Joshua Dobbs.
Astronaut, yes.
Joshua Dobbs.
Yeah, he's been awfully good.
Is he going to be on the new state flag?
He could run for governor.
He'd probably win.
He probably would win right about now, yeah. I don't think he needs a party. His party is after every Viking game.
Exactly. His party is the QB party.
Yeah. QB1. Who knew, right? I mean, when they had that list of guys that they were potentially going to pursue once Kirk Cousins went down, did Joshua Dobbs even ring a bell with you or with most people?
He wasn't on my list.
I was going to say, don't lie about this.
No, I knew
way.
He was out in Arizona. That's all I could tell you. And I figured the Vikings, Quasi Adolfo Mensa and Kevin O'Connell, the brain trust, would turn over every rock, look at every roster, scour every waiver wire and just to see what they could possibly get. And to the Vikings' credit, they go out and get Joshua Dobbs, and they don't give up a lot to get him. And this is meant as no disrespect to Captain Kirk, who was playing like an MVP. Kirk Cousins pre-injury. But he may have taken his last snap as a Minnesota Viking, because this is all going to come down to money now.
Of course
this is
it
the business of football.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
And at the end of this season, if Dobbs continues to play like he has, I'm not suggesting that he has to win the Super Bowl or win the rest of the games, but if he plays like he's been playing, they're going to win more than their share. They're going to make the playoffs. Maybe they'll even win a playoff game this year, unlike most Minnesota teams in the postseason. I think you're absolutely right. I think they look at it and say, wait a minute, we might want to keep this guy because he's giving us productivity that, we're getting when we had Kirk Cousins, but he's costing us $30 million a year less.
It's a bargain. So at what point do you think, and the real votes that count are Quasi and KOC, right?
Right.
When do they think they have their guy? How much more productivity, how much more wins out of Joshua Dobbs do you need to see? Remember, Kirk Cousins, basically, his lifetime record as a QB is right around 500, right?
True.
So do you need another win in Denver Sunday night for Dobbs to get to 3-0, then come back and beat Chicago on a Monday night? At what point do the Vikings say, we have our guy?
I think, what are they, 6-4 going into the Denver game? I'd say if they win 10, 11 games, I think they have their guy. I'd say so. That's what they would have to go basically 4-3 down the stretch.
Then they have to lock up Dobbs in the offseason.
They would have to do
that. But that changes the narrative because you can draft differently now. You're not drafting thinking you got to get Caleb Williams or Michael Penix Jr. or Bo Nix or J.J. McCarthy or whoever.
Right, and I think that they're more comfortable today with Jaron Hall being the backup as before the season, right? Because Jaron Hall, now I know it was just one series, but I think that, thrown into the fire, he did okay, right?
I would agree, that being the Atlanta game. And I also think if Jaron Hall is going to be the protege for Joshua Dobbs, they have similar styles.
Exactly.
And, Dobbs, it's well documented, this guy is a rocket scientist, right? So he's going to be able to convey the message to Jaron Hall, here's what you do to succeed in the NFL. Suddenly the Vikings appear to have a position of strength at quarterback. It was a strong position with Kirk, but we all questioned what was behind Kirk.
Well, they didn't even know.
Doomsday came. He got injured.
Let's be honest about this. The Minnesota Vikings had no idea what was going to happen after this year with the quarterback position. They figured, well, we might have to re-sign Kirk Cousins. Depends on the money, depends on where we land in the draft, depends on what somebody might offer us. And lo and behold, Joshua Dobbs falls into their laps, more or less. I mean, you said it. They got him for a song. I mean, what? They traded a 6th-round pick for a 7th-round pick? Are you kidding me?
And go give this script to somebody out in Hollywood.
They won't believe it.
And pitch it for a movie or Netflix or something. Yeah, they'll reject it. Too hokey. Not believable. We've already seen Rocky Balboa. We've already seen Rudy. Forget it.
Yep.
Or The Natural or whatever.
Yeah, no, there were 5 Rockies, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
Or 6, actually. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. All right, we'll get more into the Vikings because we're going to talk to Stu Voigt, former Vikings tight end, coming up in a minute. But I did want to get briefly into the Gopher football program. And I say program, we're not just talking about one game now. Yeah, they were annihilated by Purdue. That's ugly. You give up 49 points, over 600 yards to a team that's in last place. They only had 1 win in the division, 2 wins overall. And the Gophers are not going anyplace fast. They've got Ohio State this weekend. Then they come home to Wisconsin. They might finish 6-6. They might win both the Pig and the Axe this year. But is that enough?
Well, that would be, in my eyes, fool's gold.
Yeah.
I still think the Iowa win was a fluke, even though they get credit for it. Because for them to beat Wisconsin, and we're presuming they lose at the Horseshoe to Ohio State, they'll come back in a body bag, right? So if you get to 6-6, and you have your 2 signature rivalry trophies. Remember, they don't even think about the Little Brown Jug anymore with Michigan. But 6-6, whoopee, right? I mean, where's the bar of expectation for this program? It's about as high as the curb in your suburban neighborhood.
Yeah, it's not very high. Yeah. All right, we will talk some more Minnesota Vikings coming up. You are watching 10,000 Takes.
Your purple ticket.
Finding the ideal place to stay is important for business travelers. Lakeville, Minnesota is conveniently located off I-35, just south of the Twin Cities, with a variety of hotel choices. Lakeville offers convenient amenities such as shopping, walking trails, golf, and more. Our unique meeting spaces, historic downtown, live music, and over 60 dining options are sure to impress. Book your next stay in Lakeville and experience convenience, comfort, and quality. Find your perfect hotel at visitlakeville.org.
The excitement is real at Fond du Lac Casino. With over 650 slots to play, there's always something going on right in the heart of downtown Duluth. Come in to enjoy 2 floors of entertainment where you'll find some of the hottest new games along with a number of the old favorites. Play at your comfort level all the way up to high stakes where the payouts can be huge. Relax in a comfortable atmosphere and maybe get a beverage while you gather and have fun with your friends. Open 7 days a week so you can
have a great time out at Fond du Lac.
I've been meaning to give you these for many years. I think they're perfect.
Maya?
Oh, I love your earring. Why didn't you try these?
It isn't just about vision. It's about care. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl.
10,000 Takes rolling along, and we're going to talk some more purple right now. Of course, they are the big story in town, and Josh Dobbs is the big story, as we alluded to in segment number 1. Joining us now, Stu Voigt, former Minnesota Vikings tight end, great, and of course, longtime Vikings radio broadcaster. Stu, let's start out with Josh Dobbs because that's where it's all began a little over a week ago when he went into Atlanta and put on really was a ridiculous performance, as your former teammate Fran Tarkington said to us on the show last week. Your thoughts on what you have seen out of Josh Dobbs here in these first couple of games?
Well, first of all, hello, guys. And I would say we had a little Viking reunion last weekend for the New Orleans game. And after the first half, I think it was consensus up in the suite where we had 100 old Vikings there. Dobbs for governor. But the second half, I think and nothing against Governor Walz, but he had a great first half, and that was almost an impeccable first half played not only by Dobbs, but the rest of the Vikings, offense, defense, special teams. Looked pretty good. Then the second half, it got a little tense at the end when things got a little dicey. It's interesting that the guy I think they were looking at, this Jameis Winston, was one of the guys they wanted to bring in, and he certainly had a couple good moments with the New Orleans, but then at the end was kind of throwing it up for grabs. So good game to win. I think never knock a victory. Still room for improvement. Got a few more injuries. but I like where we sit right now.
Yeah, and I think last time I checked, he was spotted walking across Lake Minnetonka, Joshua Dobbs, and I don't think the water's frozen yet, Stu. I mean, he is the Messiah. One guy he seems to have an instant connection with is T.J. Hawkinson, who played tight end like you did. You had to love what they did last week.
Well, I mean, Hawkinson had a great job playing. He was getting smashed around, but all those receptions, I think it's easier for a quarterback, a little quicker throw to the tight end. They get open real quick. I'm not sure Dobbs went real deep during the game too many times. I think he tried to, and of course, pretty special that Hawkinson showed up big, because when you're missing Justin Jefferson and KT Osborne, and I'm not sure when they'll be back, if they're back this week or not, but he was a go-to guy. You see that a lot with quarterbacks. It's a quicker throw. They get open quick, sure-handed, and we sure needed him that game.
Give me some more thoughts on T.J. Hawkinson. Obviously, he has been a weapon for Dobbs the last couple of weeks, but man, I think you said it. I mean, he was getting crushed. He's getting hit as he's going down. He's getting hit as he gets up. He's getting hit going out of bounds. And this guy just kept bouncing back and playing more football.
Well, I think first of all, Iowa's getting to be known as like tight end U, because they've got the big kid out at San Francisco, and this Laporta is a tight end playing now with the Lions. So he's one of those guys that fit in that mold. He's a tall, lanky guy, not a real roughhouser as far as blocking goes, but they put him in different positions, a lot of quick little routes, doesn't really line up like I used to 3 feet from the offensive tackle. He's moved around. He's a bigger than most of the defensive backs, a little quicker than most of the linebackers. So he found himself open, and he's a nice target to throw for. He's every bit of 6'5". So that's the new style tight end, a la Travis Kelce. All he needs now is a girlfriend, like a high-profile girlfriend that Kelce has, but he's quickly becoming a fan favorite.
Taylor Swift.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, boy.
Your evaluation of Cam, Quasi-Adolfo-Mensah, who did get Hawkinson midstream a year ago, he found Joshua Dobbs, and then Kevin O'Connell, KOC, the young head coach. It seems like they work in pretty good tandem.
They sure did. They did the right moves so far this year. I think getting Dobbs, I saw the list of guys they were going to get. Quite frankly, some of the run-of-the-mill guys who have been kind of retreaded over the years, still in the league. I think Dobbs, and I didn't know a lot about Dobbs. Of course, he's been a well-traveled veteran here in the last 4 or 5 years. I think this is his 6th, almost maybe 7th year in the league, so he was not a household name. But he sure looks good. Obviously, having the rocket science background, he was able to adapt and get in there quickly. The first, as remarkable as this last game was, the game against Atlanta, I don't think he even really took any snaps, because they certainly wanted the youngster who got hurt, Hall, to be in there. So that's even a more testament to he can pick up the offense and he'll get nothing but better. I'm not sure he has the strongest arm in the world. It's pretty good anticipation. And what he brought to the offense also, because we don't have a great running game as of yet, he ran a couple times, especially that touchdown run. That was pure talent. He had to make a play and he made it. So you like that, although you hold your breath when a quarterback runs.
That's for sure. And he did plenty of it actually in both games, although I think he scaled it back a little bit in this game against New Orleans. Give me your thoughts about a scrambling quarterback. You played with one, maybe, the marquee scrambling quarterback back in the day. How do you have to make your adjustments as a tight end, as a receiver? What does it do for your team when you have a guy that can make plays with his feet?
Well, of course, Francis was, put the scrambler on the map. And I think what he did and what I tried to do with him, and we were roommates those Super Bowl years, 73 through 77. We were roommates, and he just would say, and obviously we had a great receiver coming out of the backfield, not only with Rashad and Sammy White, but Chuck Foreman coming out of the backfield. So the option of the tight end was almost like a safety valve. You'd block, chip maybe on the linebacker, run short routes. But he always said, just get in a position where I can find you if things break down. Never being the number one choice, you look downfield, see what's available. And if not, the tight end can really be that safety valve that nets you 5, 7, maybe 10, 12 yards after the catch. So I think that's and he brought the Dobbs has real special running ability. How he could avoid some of those sacks, having not really played all that much this year, although he did start a game or two with the Cardinals. It's quite remarkable, and he's a guy I'll have to see. I mean, maybe there's something the rival defenses can do against him. I'm sure they'll try some different things now that he's a little bit of a known commodity. But these first two games, I think we were just kind of holding our breath, and boy, he was a real pleasant surprise.
Yeah, so here's a QB2. And Stu, I've talked to some of the Vikings, about Dobbs, and they all say, look, he's taking control of the huddle right away. They have respect for him. Was that the way it was when you played with say, when the General Bobby Lee came in or Tommy Kramer came in, and, guys who took Fran's job because of injury? Did they have command right away?
Well, I think both those guys are pretty special guys. Tommy, of course, went on to have a great career, and Bob Lee played 12 years in the league, and was a veteran quarterback with your backup quarterback, you want him to go in. I remember Earl Morrill way back when with the Dolphins. He was a journeyman quarterback and got him to an undefeated season, and also got him to that Super Bowl when we played him in '73. So a valuable guy is that backup. A lot of times you're not even sure who the backup is until you need him. Then, boy, do you need him. And I guess I was, we've got Mullins and we've got Mannion. I'm pretty sure we're happy with Dobbs. I think he moved the level up a little bit from both those guys. No offense to those guys, but this guy really, I think, took the team under his wing and got us two victories. And now I think fans have completely we've erased that early season slump we had. And right now, I think we're obviously the Lions are having a great season so far, and they're probably for real. They look pretty good, but we're certainly in the wild card picture. I think if the thing we're in today, we'd be in a wild card team, and all you want to do is get to that show at the end. And if we're healthy, and we're not going to have Kirk Cousins, but I think it's going to be Dobbs the rest of the way, and get Jefferson back and Osborne back, and I say we lost a linebacker for at least a game or two. So it's nothing's guaranteed, but sitting at 6-4 looks pretty good.
You mentioned the linebacker. That would be Jordan Hicks, and he's going to be out at least for this week. We don't know how long. They bring back Anthony Barr. But talk about the defense, because I think that the defense has been, under Brian Flores, has taken a huge step forward over what they did last year, and particularly these last couple of weeks. They have made some big stops when they needed to. Your thoughts on the defense?
Well, I think Coach Flores has done a good job. I mean, he's going to come after you. He's going to throw in some exotic blitzes and come at you from different angles. You've got to account for the two pass rushers. I think Hunter is one of the premier guys, so the more pressure we got, the better. Little still concerned about the back end. I'm not sure that Atlanta or the Saints, although they got some receivers, they're quality receivers. One of these days we're going to be tested downfield. So if you don't put some pressure on the quarterback, I'm still thinking on the back end we're a little suspect on pass defense, some young cornerbacks and had some injuries, but it's coming out every week. I'm not sure the schedule sets up pretty good for us, but even though you said we beat Atlanta and New Orleans, now you've got Denver and Chicago, two winnable games. Winnable games, but also losable games. We've seen it early in the season. This team can be flat sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, and you say tested one of these days. I'll say it'll come Sunday night at Elevation 5280 in Denver with Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy and Russell Wilson. That was a huge win on Monday night for Denver to go into Buffalo. And I think they're like the Vikings now. They're playing with some confidence.
Well, absolutely. I mean, to beat Buffalo, that surprised me. But then you roll back. I think they gave up 70 points to somebody one day. So you're going like, whoa, you mark that as a win on the schedule. Now you're not so sure. But I think it's going to be still dog eat dog, but and the good news is we've got two games with the Lions at the end of the year, and although they look like they're for real, and you hate to get in as a wild card because then you're going to be on the road. But it's seasons have been ups and downs, keeping the fans on the edge of their seats. So it's pretty good, and I give a lot of credit to you. Talk about Coach O'Connell. I think he's done a real good job when he gets in that headset as an old quarterback. You got those 15 seconds before the amplified helmet is cut off, and I think he coaches just like landing a plane when you've never been, in Pilot goes down. He was really in the ear of Dobbs and called the right plays. Called 2 beautiful games.
Yeah, no question. Well, thanks, Stu. Great stuff as usual, and we'll check in with you again down the road.
I hope you will, guys. Have a great night.
Take care, Stu.
All right. He is Stu Voigt, former Minnesota Vikings tight end and radio broadcaster, with us here on 10,000 Takes. Back with more after this timeout.
I've been meaning to give you these for many years. I think they're perfect.
Maya?
Oh, I love your earrings. Why didn't you try these?
It isn't just about vision, it's about care. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl.
Finding the ideal place to stay is important for business travelers. Lakeville, Minnesota is conveniently located off I-35, just south of the Twin Cities with a variety of hotel choices. Lakeville offers convenient amenities such as shopping, walking trails, golf, and more. Our unique meeting spaces, historic downtown, live music, and over 60 dining options are sure to impress. Book your next stay in Lakeville and experience convenience, comfort, and quality. Find your perfect hotel at visitlakeville.org.
One going up, one going down. Minnesota Timberwolves, Minnesota Wild. We're starting to get into the heart of their season. They got the first month or so out of the way. The Wolves on their way up. I saw some power rankings that had the Wolves ranked number 1. One of them had number 1. One of them had number 2. And then I saw another one that had them number 4 in the league. I mean, my goodness.
Well, and as of midweek, they were the top defensive team in the NBA when it came to points allowed. And that's the one stat I look at. I don't look at all the other stuff. How much you score and how much you give up.
True.
And boy, they're winning games.
Yeah. Flip side of that, your Minnesota Wild, they're not playing any defense at all. I mean, I think that Marc-Andre Fleury's glove was made in Wisconsin out of Swiss cheese. I mean, what in the world is going on?
Yeah, he's a Hall of Fame goalie who clearly is in the winter of his career. He's looking like Willie Mays in the World Series when he played for the Mets at the tail end. He could barely catch a fly ball. And yeah, so on the flip side, the only team that's given up more goals than Minnesota is San Jose. And let me tell you, folks, the Sharks are tanking. So they're not trying.
That's a shark tank?
Least, yeah, exactly. At least that's what they're saying.
Yeah, okay. Well, by the way, 64 goals in their first 15 games. I mean, that's over 4 goals a game. How do you win hockey games that way?
I don't know. It's impossible, really. I mean, the other night they had a game where against Dallas in St. Paul, they gave up, 5 power play goals.
5 power plays.
They gave up a shorty.
No, 2.
Yeah, 2 shorties. And these goals, some came from the blue line, some came in, close range. They were from all points on the ice.
Some came from Robbinsdale.
Yeah, oh, wow.
It's all over the place.
Yeah.
All right, we'll have more, and that's Takes of the Day coming up next here on 10,000 Takes. Stay with us.
The excitement is real at Fond du Lac Casino. With over 650 slots to play, there's always something going on right in the heart of downtown Duluth. Come in to enjoy 2 floors of entertainment, where you'll find some of the hottest new games, along with a number of the old favorites. Play at your comfort level, all the way up to high stakes, where the payouts can be huge. Relax in a comfortable atmosphere and maybe get a beverage while you gather and have fun with your friends. Open 7 days a week, so you can
have a great time out at Fond du Lac.
I've been meaning to give you these for many years. I think they're perfect.
Maya?
Oh, I love your earrings. Why didn't you try these?
It isn't just about vision, it's about care. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl.
10K Takes on television as we wrap up yet another episode. We'll get the takes of the day here shortly. The hot stove is heating up. Major League Baseball in the offseason. Free agency underway. Of course, everybody wondering where Shohei's going to wind up. But,
here?
if Shohei winds up here, I will buy a Minnesota Twins hoodie with the M logo in the North Star.
Oh, boy.
And I'll wear it on the show.
I'm sure you would.
Yeah, so.
I'm sure you would. I would be thrilled if Shohei becomes a Minnesota Twin. I don't see it happening anytime soon. I'm just happy that he's going to – hopefully he's in the American League so we can see him more than once every other year.
Oh, the Texas Rangers, I hear, want him badly. I mean – my LA Dodgers, of course, want him. Everybody wants him.
Of course they do.
Who can pony up what it's going to take to get him? And do you have the infrastructure to support him?
Are you going to pay him, in other words?
Yeah, and you need a lot. You got to have a team that's ready to win. If it wasn't about winning, he'd just stay with the Angels. Rumor has it the weather's pretty good in Orange County.
Yeah. Well, I think he wants to win. I think that's
my point.
Number one.
It's about winning.
Yeah. Are the Twins going to win without Sonny Gray? I see he declined their qualifying offer, which I think was expected. He's going to test the free agent market, but they're not going to pay him, are they?
The only way they get Sonny Gray back is if it's a Carlos Correa type situation where maybe Sonny doesn't see the market being what he thought it was and he comes back to Minnesota. But to be honest with you, I expect him to get a 3 to 4 year deal from somebody. Everybody wants pitching. Sonny Gray is coveted. He had success last season. He was an all-star. He's a bulldog. If Rocco would let him go, he'd pitch into the 7th inning every night or beyond.
Yeah, I think he's gone. I think he's going to end up in St. Louis. That's where I think he's going.
Sunny in St. Louis.
Sunny in St.
That's the forecast?
And it is usually sunny in St. Louis.
And muggy.
And very muggy. I can attest to that. All right. I am told takes of the day.
Yeah, let's find out what your mood is.
Okay.
Angry American, cranky Yankee, happy camper. What is it this week?
Well, we discussed a little bit earlier in the show your Golden Gopher football squad, who, oh, by the way, of course, as you know, lost to Illinois. Bad loss. Lost to Northwestern. Bad loss. Lost to Purdue. Really bad loss. I mean, they gave up 49 points, over 600 yards to the last place team in a horrible Big Ten West. So that brings me to my next point. And this isn't even mentioning, well, I'll mention it anyway, the loss to Bowling Green a couple of years ago. Is P.J. Fleck the right guy for the job? Now, there's a lot of folks that want to run him out of town right now, and it's hard to argue with the lack of success since 2019 when they won the Outback Bowl and they beat Penn State at TCF Bank Stadium. But they have not produced since then. They've basically been on a plateau. They won the Axe last year. They got the Pig and possibly the Axe this year. But look, I'm hearing all this talk. They got to replace PJ, but who are they going to replace him with? Who's going to? And the problem is, okay, so I know you have suggested to me that they bring in Urban Meyer, who had success at Ohio State and elsewhere. Okay, great. Are they going to pay Urban Meyer? Are they going to pay somebody like that? I would say absolutely not. They are not going to pony up. They're not going to bring in a diva like that. They're going to go and get another PJ type guy, and they're going to be right where they are right now. So I would say that you better watch what you wish for. They're probably going to have to stick with PJ, but they're never going to be Ohio State or Penn State or Michigan for sure.
They're never going to be Iowa or Wisconsin.
Well, wait a minute. They beat Iowa this year.
That's true, but Iowa's going to win the West. All right, let's check out that mood meter.
Sure.
Oh, he's in the red. He's a grumpy guardian.
As usual.
All right. Well, we shall see. I'm going to talk about the Gophers, too. One of their former hockey stars, Kyle Okposo, who's now playing with the Buffalo Sabres, used to be with the New York Islanders, grew up in St. Paul. On a Tuesday night, he was saluted as he played in game number 1,000. How about that? 17 years in the NHL. He's in the 1K club. Only 46 active players have played in that many games, so it's a huge milestone for Kyle. And the first 10,000 Sabre fans into the arena got a little replica stick case with that silver stick inside of it that they give to players when they reach 1,000 games. So kudos to Kyle. Great guy on and off the ice, loved by his teammates, opponents, the media, coaches. And you got to do something right. Stick around for 1,000 games.
Yeah, that's for sure.
All right, let's FedEx out those thank yous. One to Alex Yambrick, Paul Langfellow, Rocky, Stu Voigt, David Weld. For Wally, I'm Eric saying so long. This is 10K Takes, your sports ticket.